En su primera aparición pública tras la rebelión que sufrió en su contra, el presidente de Rusia, Vladimir Putin, agradeció la solidaridad recibida. En un discurso virtual transmitido este martes, dijo que lograron unirse como un bloque ante el intento de rebelión armada protagonizado por el grupo de mercenarios Wagner. Putin también dijo que Rusia está resistiendo todas las sanciones y provocaciones contra el país y que está en constante desarrollo. El mandatario participó en la cumbre de Organización de Cooperación de Shanghái y expresó su agradecimiento al tiempo que ofrecía reafirmación en su liderazgo. Escuchemos.
El pueblo ruso está más consolidado que nunca. La solidaridad y la gran responsabilidad por el destino de la patria quedaron claramente demostradas por los círculos políticos rusos y por toda la sociedad al unirse en un frente único contra el intento de rebelión armada.
Quiero tomar contacto con nuestro compañero Cristian Borsato, del servicio informativo. Parece que han abortado un ataque con drones sobre Moscú o sobre alguna parte de Rusia. ¿Qué está pasando?
Así es, Pepe. El Ministerio de Asuntos Exteriores ruso dice que los drones interceptados intentaban atacar una zona donde hay infraestructura de civiles. La portavoz del Ministerio de Asuntos Exteriores de Rusia, María Zakharova, declaró que en el aeropuerto moscovita de Vnukovo recibió vuelos de extranjeros. Se calificó a estos drones de un acto terrorista.
Now, new signs of the Ukrainian counteroffensive unfold this morning near Moscow. That's where Russia claims it intercepted 5 Ukrainian drones. And while there are no immediate reports of casualties or damage, Russia is offering a fairly powerful description of the encounter, calling it a, quote, thwarted terrorist attack. CNN's Bed Wiedemann is live in eastern Ukraine. And first, what have you heard from Kiev? How is Ukraine responding?
Well, Kyiv is responding with a certain amount of sarcasm, given it that the Russian foreign ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova is saying that this was a case of international terrorism. We just got a statement from an advisor to the Ukrainian president that says the Russian foreign ministry should realize that a terrorist attack is when you have been deliberately firing cruise and ballistic missiles at residential areas and crowded pizzerias for 16 months. So certainly, obviously, the Ukrainians aren't going to accept responsibility for this incident in Moscow, but certainly it is somewhat ironic that Russia, a country that has launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine since February of last year, is complaining about a few drones over Moscow. Now, according to the information we have, there were 5 drones in the Moscow metropolitan area. 4 of them were brought down by air defenses, 1 by electronic warfare means. Now, as a result of these drones, which didn't cause any damage or injury to people, the 14 flights at one of the 4 airports in Moscow were diverted. That, according to the TASS news agency. And of course, it's important to keep in mind this isn't the first time that drones of unknown origin have been sighted over Moscow. In May, there was an incident where, in fact, one drone, the Kremlin claimed, exploded over the Kremlin itself. The Russians alleged that it was an assassination attempt against Vladimir Putin.
The past week has been difficult for Ukrainian forces, but the Ukrainian president says the month-long counteroffensive is making progress, a bit slowly but surely. According to Ukrainian military officials, more than 180,000 Russian troops are deployed on 2 major eastern fronts, and those troops reportedly include air assault units and convicted criminals. The commander of the Ukrainian land forces says around 50,000 troops are near Bakhmut. Fighting has been fierce there, with Ukrainian and Russian troops holding and exchanging the same position several times in the same day. Meantime, Russian attacks on civilians have claimed at least 2 lives in the city of Sumy, where a Russian drone strike hit 2 apartment blocks and an administration building as well. 19 people were hurt, among them a 5-year-old child. Ukraine's president says this is just another reminder of the ongoing need for better air defenses.
Unfortunately, our state does not yet have a sufficient number of high-quality air defense systems to protect our entire territory and shoot down all enemy targets. The enemy takes advantage of this, as they did today, by launching another terrorist attack on the city of Sumy using an Iranian drone.
The very latest now from Ukraine, from CNN senior international correspondent Ben Wiedemann.
Ukraine's much-anticipated counteroffensive now well into its fourth week. The front lines ever more intense. But the gains so far are small and incremental. Ukrainian forces are pushing forward in the south, liberating just over 150 square kilometers. That's only 60 square miles. But as Ukraine advances, the country's deputy defense minister says Russia is stepping up attacks in the east. The enemy is trying to force our troops out of their positions, but is receiving a worthy rebuff, she said in her latest update. On several fronts, Russian forces are managing to move forward. Now on the offensive in the town of Svatove in the Luhansk region. Back in Moscow, Russia's military leaders continue to project strength, even after the recent mutiny by Wagner mercenaries.
These plans failed primarily because the personnel of the armed forces showed loyalty to their oath and military duty. The provocation did not have impact on the actions of the groupings of troops. The servicemen courageously and selflessly continued to solve the tasks assigned to them.
Russia's assault on Ukraine also continues further from the front lines, hammering civilian infrastructure. Monday, 4 Russian drones were launched at the northeastern city of Sumy, hitting 2 residential apartment blocks and a local administrative building. That attack killed 2 people and injured at least 19. Rescuers are determined to quickly clear up the aftermath. Just as Ukrainian forces tell CNN, they're determined to keep inching forward. Ben Wiedemann, CNN, Eastern Ukraine.
El presidente de Ucrania, Volodymyr Zelensky, califica de débil la respuesta de Putin a la rebelión armada de Wagner. Así lo dijo a CNN en una entrevista exclusiva. Putin enfrentó la mayor amenaza a su autoridad en 2 décadas el mes pasado, cuando el jefe del grupo paramilitar Wagner, Yevgeny Prigozhin, lanzó un levantamiento de corta duración, reclamó el control de las instalaciones militares en 2 ciudades rusas y marchó hacia Moscú antes de aceptar retirarse. En esta entrevista grabada este domingo en Odessa, Zelensky dijo a Erin Burnett de CNN que el hecho de que Wagner se adentrara en Rusia y tomara ciertas regiones muestra lo fácil que es hacerlo y que Putin no controla todo.
Sí, vemos la reacción tras ciertos pasos de Wagner. Vemos la reacción de Putin. Es débil. En primer lugar, vemos que él no controla todo. Wagner se adentra profundamente en Rusia y toma ciertas regiones. Muestra lo fácil que es hacerlo. Putin no controla la situación en las regiones. Él no controla la situación de seguridad. Todos entendemos que todo su ejército está en Ucrania. Casi todo el ejército está allí. Por eso es tan fácil para las tropas de Wagner marchar por Rusia. ¿Quién podría haberlos detenido? Entendemos que Putin no controla la política regional y no controla a toda esa gente en las regiones. Así que todo ese poder vertical que solía tener se desmoronó.
To Moscow now, where Russia claims that it shot down 5 Ukrainian drones a short time ago. This video from social media appears to show smoke behind these buildings. Now, CNN cannot independently verify the video. Also, just moments ago, Russian President Vladimir Putin appeared virtually on the global stage for the first time since the Wagner rebellion more than a week ago. CNN's Claire Sebastian live in London with more. So, Claire, Putin wrapping up comments just about 30 minutes or so ago. I mean, what did he say? What are we hearing?
Well, this clearly, Rahel, was part of the Kremlin's effort to reassert, extensive effort, by the way, to reassert Putin's authority after this insurrection. And he really didn't hold back. Just a bit of background first. The Shanghai Cooperation Organization, which this is the forum he was speaking at, is really seen, certainly by China and Russia, though perhaps not so much by India, the host of this summit, as a counterpoint to Western influence and in fact, ideology in the world. So this is important to Putin. He really railed against the West, accused them of running a years-long project to create a hostile country on Russia's borders in Ukraine, of arming them for years. He railed against sanctions, though he said that Russia is withstanding those. And he was at pains to emphasize that the recent armed insurrection in Russia had not led to divisions in the country. Take a listen.
El pueblo ruso está más consolidado que nunca. La solidaridad y la gran responsabilidad por el destino de la patria quedaron claramente demostradas por los círculos políticos rusos y por toda la sociedad al unirse en un frente único contra el intento de rebelión armada.